Welcome, everyone. I'm Janice Blasco, and my sister Joyce Parhack and I are happy that you've joined us for our first webinar. The Christmas Expo Holiday Lighting and Decorating Conference started in 2003 and is now held annually the third week of July in a different city each year. The first Great Christmas Light Fight competition was held in 2013, and in 2014 we created the annual Great Christmas Light Fight discussion panel. The panel features representatives from the show and contestants from the previous season who share their experiences being on a reality TV show. Unfortunately, we were unable to get together in person this year, but we're thrilled to bring a new twist to the panel by taking it online and featuring executive producers Brady Connell, Felicia Aaron White, and casting director Kristen Moss to tell us what it's like behind the scenes in Hollywood to produce the Great Christmas Light Fight. I'm now going to turn this over to our moderator, Chuck Smith from PlanetChristmas.com to get the webinar started. Before I go, we hope you'll consider joining us on July 15th to the 17th, 2021 in Las Vegas for the next Christmas Expo. Enjoy the show.
Mute me. Good evening, everybody. I am so excited to see you tonight. You don't know what it is to not be able to see everyone at Christmas Expo this year. Has been kind of a real downer for me, but the fact that we're able to have a virtual conference, this can't be any better. I am so excited to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Chuck Smith. I am your moderator tonight, and usually I do this at Christmas Expo that was supposed to be in Las Vegas. Now that's the event where all the really great Christmas decorators get together along with all the newbies that want to learn how to do the great Christmas decorating, and we share all of our tips and secrets. But this year with COVID-19, things are just a little bit different. So when the Sisters of Christmas Expo contacted me to say that they wanted to have a virtual session of our class that we normally have at Christmas Expo, I said, I'm all over this. I want to do this, because it's a way that we can gather and exchange ideas and hear what's really going on out there. Now, as most of you know, when you go to the Christmas Expo, you meet with a lot of other people and you hear why they do the decorating. And what most people don't understand is that really great Christmas decorators do it to see the smiles on the faces of the people that watch what they have done. I'm going to bet that when you were a kid, you drove around in your car and you saw all the lights at Christmas time, but there was always that one house that was decorated more than any of the others. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing that house. We know how special that is. We are making lifelong memories. So it's so important we keep do what we are doing. So tonight, I have the rare privilege of doing a virtual class with you. But we're going to do things different. Normally, at the Christmas Expo, at the Great Christmas Light Fight session, we bring up the contestants that were on last year's Great Christmas Light Fight. I went to Wikipedia today and I did a little research. And did you know that there's been 7 years of the Great Christmas Light Fight? There have been 42 episodes on TV. Now, I did a little bit of math on that. And of those 42 episodes, that means that there are over 150 contestants that have been there, and it's either been one person, a family, or a whole organization. So that means a lot of people have already participated in a Great Christmas Light Fight. So we're quite used to seeing the people that are in front of the lens, but tonight we have something extra special. We are going to share what goes on behind the lens, the people that make the show actually happen. So what do you say that we go ahead and get started with this and meet who's going to be on the panel tonight? And stand by. Oh, look at that. We have now all kinds of people on the screen. We have actually 3 people that are associated with the Great Christmas Light Fight. And let me give you an introduction to each person. And we're going to start with Brady Connell. Wave for Brady. There's Brady right there. Brady has served as executive producer and showrunner for all 8 seasons of the Great Christmas Light Fight. That means this also includes the season that will be showing here in another few months. This year, he's also back with the Extreme Makeover Home Edition on HGTV. Brady has helped launch some of the television's most successful series, including Survivor, The Amazing Race, and of course, the Great Christmas Light Fight. Brady's the big brother of Los Angeles, president of the local Rotary Club, and lives in Marina del Rey, California, and his wife, 2 teenagers, and has 5 pets. Welcome, Brady. It's good to see you here.
Great to be here. Thank you for everything.
Next on our list, we'll come back to you, Brady. Don't worry, let me introduce everybody. Next on our list is Felicia Aaron White. Wait, that is Felicia. Yeah, that's Felicia. She's also an executive producer for the Great Christmas Light Fight, with over a dozen years of experience developing and producing competition series, including ABC's Don't, Nickelodeon's Double Dare, and Emmy-nominated Brain Surge. Felicia is passionate about making feel-good content that betters our local communities. When Felicia is not making TV magic, she enjoys spending time in nature and attempting to train her cat. I have cats too, Felicia. Best of luck on that. Welcome, Felicia.
Thank you for having me.
Next on our list is Kristen Moss. She's been with the Great Christmas Light Fight since season 2 and the casting director since season 3. In her downtime, when she is not working the Great Christmas Light Fight, she works on reality TV awards, MasterChef, Facebook, Game Show Network, and commercials and development projects. Kristen has recently been working with Facebook on their social campaigns and developing new shows. Many of us have seen Kristen working around Christmas expos in the past. We're glad she's taken time out of her packed schedules to be with us tonight. So Kristen, welcome to our event.
Good to see you, Chuck. Thanks so much.
All right. So we have 3 very, very important people with us tonight. So I'm going to be asking a bunch of questions, but you out there in the real world, out in Zoom land, can also submit questions to us. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a button that says QA or questions and answers. You can always submit your question there. Just type it in. It will disappear up into the Ethernet and the ether somehow or other. And magically, it's supposed to appear on my screen, and I'll work the questions in as they seem appropriate and as time allows. So if you have a question, be sure and submit it, and we'll do everything we can to make sure that we get to your question. So, Brady, Felicia, Kristen, welcome. I've got a list of questions here, and let's start way back in the very, very beginning. How did the concept of the Great Christmas Light Fight develop? Was there a trend or a spark that created the idea, or just where in the world did this idea come from? Do you might want to tackle that?
I guess I'll take that. It might have been the North Pole that started the whole thing. Maybe
Of course.
Inside track. First, I have to say, as whatever, I'm the executive producer of the show, I just have to say thank you to Joyce and Janice and you, Chuck, for being so supportive of the show over the years. I don't know that we would have gotten over the hump that first or second season without your support. And we really deeply appreciate it. And we hope that it's just a win-win, love-love relationship that keeps on going. So thanks for everything. But everyone is curious how it all started. I guess, you know, everybody wants to be the instigator of the whole thing. But the reality is as far as I know, this is the story that I heard, that there was an executive at ABC, actually 2 executives who took credit for it, but one of them had to be the initial idea person. They had noticed that all the videos, all the light show videos were going viral online. And somebody just sort of said, hey, is there something we can do here with a Christmas competition show? And they had done some just initial casting. There might be somebody on the call who was part of it, but there was an initial effort back in 2013, the beginning of 2013, I think, to try and see if there were enough out there. And then when it turned out that there were, it just sat for a while. Like it sat for like 9 or 10 months. And then when Christmas started rolling around, somebody said, hey, let's give that idea a try. And it was no more than a Christmas lights competition show when we were called. So I was called first. I literally, I think, called Felicia like an hour later and a couple of other people. And we got together and just tried to figure out how it might work just format wise. And that was September. My memory is that I started on September 6th of 2013. Yep. And we aired on December 6th or something, just a few months later.
Oh my gosh.
So it was an extraordinary ramp up. And we were shooting, from the time we were hired, we were shooting within 12 days, going out to the Blount family, I think first down in Laguna Beach, and just figuring out what the show is. We were just making it up as we go. So it was a very rough start, and we appreciate the support and the patience really of all the teams out there. So that's how it all got started. It was because of actual people who had lights, and it was going viral.
So Felicia, were you part of the first year, or did you come in after that? After Brady had done all the heavy lifting here?
Well, he still did a lot of the heavy lifting, but yes, I was part of the initial team. Our 3rd executive producer, Max, was also part of that additional team. He can't be here today because he's shooting Shark Tank right now. But Brady called me and said, like, we're hitting the ground running. I need someone with a format brain, which is what we had done together before, is figure out formats. And I was supposed to only consult for 2 weeks because I wanted to be off to plan my wedding. And of course, that was not in the cards. As soon as I got involved, I was hooked, and I am so grateful I've been a part of it ever since.
Wow. So tell me, what do executive producers really do? Is there like a job description? What is an executive producer?
Good question. I'm not sure any of us can answer that. we don't even know what our own job is. It's I mean, ultimately we're responsible for everything that happens on the show, but we have a staff of I don't know how many, probably 70, 80 people when it's all said and done, with all these crews running around the country. But Felicia really keeps an eye on all the, the relationships with all the contestants, and making sure that's all done properly, and all of pre-production and the scheduling and the budget, everything that has to get ready to shoot. And then during the shoot, she goes out on location many times and keeps an eye on things. And then Max Swedlow really takes care of more the post-production. So he is very involved in making sure that we shoot what we need to shoot so that we can edit the darn thing and get it on the air in time. And then I just sort of, keep an eye on everybody from the top. And I also direct the show. So I'm out there in the field directing a lot of the segments. So it go from show to show, it changes, but basically the executive producers are the ones that are ultimately in charge of the thing and responsible if things go wrong.
Well, how did ABC pick up the show? Or did you just kind of start the show on your own and then just say, now what? Who's going to put this on TV?
No, it came from the idea came from ABC. They called Fremantle when they were thinking about doing it. And there's a guy named Tom Beers who does Dangerous Catch, whatever those shows are. And he was head of Fremantle at the time, and basically he said yes when he probably shouldn't have. Can you get the thing ready in 5 weeks? And that's how it happened. So it came to Fremantle, and then Fremantle hired us. So we did not come up with the show, and we didn't pitch the show. We don't have to pitch it anymore. It just ABC keeps ordering it each year based on the ratings of the previous year.
Oh, well, that was a question that somebody's already asked here, is how do you know when the show is going to be, when you're going to be able to film the show for the next year? Say it's ratings based, so ABC says, okay, it's good, let's go for the 28th year or something like that.
Go ahead, Felicia.
So as with many TV shows nowadays, oftentimes there is a casting period, which Kristen can talk about more. And then after the casting period, if they like what they see, which are all of your beautiful videos and Skype calls that Kristen's team edits, then they will greenlight us for the next season. We're really lucky. ABC loves and supports us, so we don't necessarily worry year to year. We always have good feelings that we're going to come back. But there's never a guarantee in television on any show, even a really big show like, Dancing with the Stars or whatnot. At any moment, things can change and the temperature can change. So we always have to be ready to keep producing the best product possible to keep the network coming back for more.
Gotcha. So we've had a question come across. You've done all the shows have been in the USA, and I believe you had a segment in Canada last year. Someone's asking when you're going to be going to Europe. Has there been any talk about that?
I've been pushing this for years, and it's really ABC's reluctance to spend the extra money it takes to travel. Even our one segment going to Canada costs us a lot more money. And as everyone knows, that's been on the show, it's a pretty tight show budgetarily. And it's one of the reasons we keep getting renewed, is because we do keep the budget at a certain level. And so anyway, we pitched it over and over again. We have done some casting. Kristen, I don't know if you can talk to it, but I think we have a good 7 or 8 really good international stories we'd love to do someday.
Oh yeah, every year without fail, Brady goes, should we try international again? Let's just show the network what we can find. So, I mean, we have Australia, Germany, the UK. I mean, just ideas. There's amazing homes in the Philippines. So we would love to get out there, New Zealand. But, it all comes with a price. So we'll see what happens. But we've definitely done our research, and they do exist overseas.
So, Kristen, you came on board in season 2 after Brady did the hard work of finding everybody for season 1. Let me ask Brady real quick. How did you find the contestants for season 1?
The very, very first season, we were handed, I don't know how many, maybe 15 homes that had been displays that had been sort of, discovered online. And we had even just a card, like a little index card on those families. And it felt to me like, wow, we've got enough here to get started. But we didn't know how many there were nationwide. We thought maybe there were only another, like 2 more, and the whole show would be over, season 1. But it turns out, that there were quite a few that people didn't even know about that weren't online. And what a great thing that it's basically self-perpetuating now. Enough people are getting into it every year that this series couldn't have started at a better time. And now, as long as the ratings are there and we keep the budget low, we could stay on for a very, very long time. So keep doing displays, everybody, because we need them. But yeah, the first season, we just amplified and supplemented what was handed to us. And I don't think Kristen was on that first season, but we had just enough to do 5 episodes. It was 20 families that first season, and now we do 24 every season.
So where did the $50,000 prize come from? Is that your idea?
Sorry, I'm talking so much. This is really interesting for anybody. If anybody is, I think I saw Kevin Lynch's name on there. He may have maybe remember this. When we first contacted that first set of families, it was a 4-episode competition. And at the end of the 4th episode, we were gonna have winners from each of those episodes. So we were going to have 4 winners from 4 episodes, and those 4 were going to go against each other in the 5th episode. That's why there were only 5 originally, because that's all that was budgeted. And at the end of the 5th episode, there was going to be one $250,000 winner.
Whoa.
That was the original concept. I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but it turned, again, we were making it up as we go. It turned out we didn't think it was going to be fair or even proper to have 4 competitors they were going to go to New York actually and compete in a park and build 4 new displays on like fake houses. And that was we were just like, that doesn't work. That's not what the show is about. And Max, who was the other executive producer, he just said, why don't we just take the $250,000, split it up over 5 episodes, and we have a winner every episode. And we're like, yay. And we were already shooting at that point. So we had to call the families back and say, I'm so sorry, you guys, it's not a $250,000 prize, but now you have a 1 in 4 chance of winning $50,000. And everyone loved that idea even better. So that was the turning point. And I think really one of the keys to the success of the series, that there's a winner at the end of every episode.
Yeah.
Sorry about the long answer, but kind of interesting.
No, that's quite okay. So Kristen, you came on in season 2. What was your job description in? Did they just say, find people to be on the show? Did they give you any help at all?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty self-explanatory after watching the first season of the show. They wanted, the best, biggest, boldest Christmas displays in the US. And so we had a team of people who were tasked with that. It was a really fun team. Basically, our boss, who's, he was the casting director at the time, we would go in there with like 3 or 4 or 5 new displays and show him. And, now I've kind of taken on that role. So I'm also doing research. Even today I was doing research. I'm always doing research, looking for new displays. But so the concept hasn't changed. We're just always looking for the next new thing, something fresh, something unique. And basically, we put the most exciting displays on for that season. And it was funny because the first season I was on the show as one of the casting producers was the year that Brady and I went to Biloxi, Mississippi for the Christmas Expo together. And we had met once in the office before we took this trip out to Biloxi, Mississippi for the Christmas Expo. And that's where Brady and I really got to know each other well. And, we kind of turned it into more of a permanent place on the team for me anyway. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, wait, Kristen's married. Right, sorry.
So it was great. I mean, it kind of fell into place, and I've been loving the research and finding the new families ever since. It's incredible.
So Kristen, how have things changed since season 2 through today? Did the families seek you out now, or somebody that wants to be on the show? Or
We definitely get, families seeking us out, which is extremely helpful for us. As you know, there's been over 100 families on the show. So now it's, they don't come up on the first Google search. If you just look in, Chicago, Illinois Christmas display, you have to now search, a little deeper, dig a little harder, search specific towns. I mean, what we're doing is we're looking on Facebook, now TikTok. We're doing Google searches, YouTube searches, Vimeo. We're going anywhere possible to find videos of displays. And the funny thing is that sometimes the homeowner isn't the one who took the video. So the person who took the video might not even know who the homeowner is. So we have to do a lot of sleuth work. We have white pages. I will text someone out of the blue and they're like, how did you get my phone number? But we find a way.
We had a question come in. What are the top 5 things you're looking for a possible Great Christmas Light fighter?
Well, in the title of the show, we're looking for lights. Lights are extremely important. We want to make sure that when that display lights up in that first moment on screen, that the judges and the audience is blown away. So lights are very important, use of lights. Brady, Felicia, anything else? I mean, I could go on, but.
I think unique is important these days. Now that we're heading to season 9, we've seen a lot of great static displays, and we've seen some fantastic light shows. And it is. I could see how over time it would be a little bit more difficult to become more unique than you already are. So unique and focus on a particular direction. It's like, I mean, you've all seen lights where they're all blue, or it's a theme, or it's a certain color pattern or a certain way of hanging the lights, like whatever it is, go for it so that it's like, oh, I've never seen that before. It's amazing, but it's also really unique. And that's what I'm personally looking for, but we're not picking you only because of that, but it sure helps.
And I would say definitely lean into your techniques. I know a lot of you have really unique techniques that make you stand out, but maybe you haven't thought about how to articulate them to Kristen and the casting team. And so if we don't know about them, then we can't showcase them. And unique techniques in executing your lights, like really give us a talking point to discuss on the show. So while you're thinking about applying, definitely think about, like, how do I execute this differently than other people? And why is that important? And how can you really showcase that to us?
That makes sense. Following a presentation to you guys, which brings us to the question, Kristen goes out and finds all these amazing displays, but who makes the final decision what gets on TV?
So, so there's a team of us. I take the first stab at taking, I watch all the videos, I read all the applications, and together with input from Kristen and Brady and Max and our executives at Fremantle and ABC, we then, set in stone who is going to be on the show that year. It's a very long, complicated list of things that we consider, including the type of display, the unique features, things we've never seen before, and also things like the region of the country you're in. We want every episode to look, every house and every episode to look totally different from each other. So it's very much moving around a puzzle and finding, which combination will give the audience at home that knows nothing about Christmas lights the most exciting, thrilling, diverse ride within that episode.
And Chuck, if I could, I know it's been frustrating for some light fighters out there that we don't put 4 light shows in an episode together, or we don't put 4 of the same kind in an episode. And we totally understand that. We've understood that from the very first season. But it unfortunately, for the entertainment value and what ABC expects, the more variety we have in each episode, we feel that that's more entertaining for the audience. And so it may seem unfair to some individuals, but that's just the way it is. So hopefully everyone's on board.
I don't know. I've gotten some pretty good ideas from people with static displays. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There are no ugly displays out there.
That's right. It's true.
So Kristen, let's get back to you. You tend to come to Christmas expos more than anybody else from your little group here. And I know that you missed the one in Las Vegas this year because none of us got to go.
Right.
But are you looking for anything particular for the next season that hasn't filmed yet? Can you give us any hints what you're looking for?
The fun thing is we're actually still casting for season 9. So if anyone on this call or anyone on this call knows anyone who has a Christmas display who has not applied or reached out, please do so. That being said, it's hard to know. In casting in general, especially in reality television, you don't really know what you want until you see it. It's even like on the show, when the audience is watching, all of a sudden you see something and that's the greatest Christmas display you've ever seen, but you wouldn't have known what you wanted to see until you saw it. So it's hard for me to articulate exactly what I'm looking for, but I can't echo enough that something that's going to stand out in the audience's mind is something that really makes a big impact for us. If you have trees, go all the way up. Height really helps. Don't stop halfway. If you have a roof line that can be, that you feel comfortable standing on, add things to the roof. The more bold you can make it, the better. And even if you have, certain pieces, maybe you don't put them out on every year, you kind of pick and choose what you want. Put them all out this year because we want to see what the biggest and boldest display you have that you're capable of and get footage of it, and we'll come back for next year and be able to consider you, because it's just funny. Sometimes we'll talk to someone and we're like, hey, can you fill in maybe the little blank spot over here? They're like, oh, I have half of my display that I didn't put out yet, or that they weren't planning on, because they don't always put it all out. So I would say go big if you want to be on the show, get footage of that display this year. But if you already go big and you have amazing footage of your display, apply now, lightfightcasting.com. We're still looking for season 9, which will film this November, December, not September anymore or October, just so everybody is aware. We're filming November, December for next year. So it won't air till 2021. If you wait until next year, you're not going to air for 2 more years, 2022. So get in now.
So what was that website again, Kristen?
It's lightfightcasting.com.
What was that one more time?
Lightfightcasting.com.
Okay, because we're getting a lot of questions here of how do you apply. So let me see if I can remember this right. Lightfightcasting.com. Is that correct?
That's the one.
And when you submit something there, it goes directly to you, right?
It does.
Does it? Okay. Well, I have a feeling that you're going to get a lot of submissions tonight. At least I hope so. Anyway. So let's talk a little bit about the judges. You had judges the very first year or two, and then they changed to the judges that we have now. Where did you find the judges, or was there any magic in picking the judges? Can you give us any insight of why you did what you did?
What are you saying, Chuck?
Well, how do you become a judge for the Great Christmas Light Fight? How about
Right.
that?
It's a good question. I mean, we had to really evaluate, does it need to be somebody from the Christmas lights world in order to be qualified enough to judge lights? But at the same time, it's a TV show, it's prime time, it's ABC, and they had certain expectations. And that very first year, I had worked with Sabrina Soto on Extreme, both actually Michael Maloney and Sabrina Soto. I had worked with them on Extreme Makeover Home Edition, and I knew that they were both very talented designers. I knew that they really know their stuff, just in terms of color and spatial, decisions and just everything. And I really trusted their creative judgment of things. And so that was how both of them were cast that first season. And that was all with ABC approval. And then Sabrina was unable to do season 3. She actually was having a baby literally right in October of whatever year that was, 2016. So she wasn't able to do it. And then ABC just decided, hey, let's just change it up and have two new judges. and we did kind of an open call, typical casting thing in here in the U.S. and in LA, and ABC had their favorites. And Carter was well known from his work on HGTV, and of course Tanya as well from all of her work on Restaurant Impossible. And they both have also very good taste in things, and they're likable and they're so great to work with. And for those of you who are on the call who've worked with them and have met them, they're fantastic. They have great personalities. They love Christmas. They cry. I mean, Tanya cries all the time, and it just shows you how much they're into it, and they can't wait to do it every year. So there's no big secret sauce to picking judges. It's half Hollywood plays a part of it, though.
One of the questions that's come in is, do the judges fly in private aircraft from location to location, or do they fly commercial?
I wish. It would definitely make it easier. The judges' schedule is very complex. They literally ping pong across the country, and they unfortunately do fly commercial because we need flights at all sorts of times. We need them to be available at a moment's notice and whatnot. So it's just, for many reasons, budget and situationally, it's easier to use commercial. They also don't fly alone. They fly with the consulting producers who direct in the field and kind of are the support system for the judge. So they're not we're not sending them off by themselves. They do have someone there with them to support them. But no private flights.
How long are the judges usually on site at a Christmas display? Are they there for a couple of days, or they just show up at night like we see on TV and leave very early the next morning? What is their typical schedule when they actually go on site somewhere?
Their schedule is very intense, and of course it depends. It's constantly fluctuating, and it really depends on many factors, but generally they will fly and check into their hotel or whatnot, and the next day they go to see a house, they judge. They're only there, after the crowd arrives, and then until, the wee hours of the morning when we're done filming. And the very next morning, oftentimes with not a ton of time to sleep, they hop on the next plane and they're off to the next city. We try to give them as much downtime as possible, but we have 4 crews that are filming everywhere and only 2 judges that have to bounce between those 4 crews. So they're extremely busy, but they're great sports. They love traveling and they never complain. They're always energized and thrilled when they get there, and they love the families.
One of the questions that's come in is, did you ever think about adding a guest judge like one of the previous winners? You might just kind of keep that in mind, guys. Be sure.
We thought about celebrities too. Should we have a celebrity come in? But that's more money. They have to have that same schedule as the judge. It takes how many flights does it take just to do one episode? It takes, I guess, 7 flights or something like that at least.
6 or 7.
Just to do one episode. So the judge actually goes from house to house to house to house, 4 different parts of the country, then decides which one they're going to select, and then they fly back to that one house, and then they fly to the next place. So it's a commitment. It's like a 10-day commitment, for someone to be a judge on just one episode. So it's a lot to ask somebody.
In the early days, you used to start filming the contestants in early or in October or even earlier, and you would ask the contestants to actually have their reveal before the Christmas holidays had even started. But was it last year, the year before, you started filming a year in advance? Can you kind of bring us up to speed on how all that works, or why you changed, or why you're doing it the way you are?
Yeah, it was something that we had always wanted to do. We want the show to look more winter, right? We want to shoot as close to December as we can, because there were times in those early seasons that we were showing up in Florida and Texas, and everybody was in shorts, short sleeve shirts, and it didn't look very Christmassy. We certainly maybe once we got snow like in Chicago in October, but anyway, it was something we always wanted to do, and we did. Once ABC felt like the show was strong enough to be on, for a couple of years from then, they committed to doing 2 entire seasons in 1 year. So we did, I forget, it was a season 6 and 7? No, it was 5 and 6. I think we shot back to back. So we shot 1 season in our old schedule, September, October, And we went right in and shot another 6 episodes in November, December. We edited those first 2 to air that year, and then we kept editing the other 2, and we finished in January, February, put that on the shelf. And then, great, now we're 1 year ahead. And from now on, we don't have to ask anybody else to put up their lights in October or putting them up in August sometimes to get ready for October and then, or September. Now we're usually starting on November 1st, right after October 31st, after Halloween. So that helps a little bit anyway. Still November though.
So those of us out in the real world have seen 7 seasons. The 8th season, I assume, will start Monday in December. You guys usually start the first Monday of December or the last Monday of November. So this means that you're now casting for people that will show up in the 2021 season. Is that right? Or wait, are you going to film them this year or next year? Saying I'm just totally all perplexed. Help me out here, Kristen. The people that you have been selected for this year, they won't be on TV until 2021, correct?
Correct.
All right, so my mind isn't too totally screwed up then. That's a good thing. Okay.
And they got to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
They got to keep it a secret?
If they win or they lose, we are now letting people say if they're on the show by Christmas this year after they're done filming. We decided to stop making people keep that part a secret, but you cannot tell anyone if you won or you lost. You really want to keep that close to your chest because you want your whole family and everyone who follows you on Facebook and everything to tune in and root for you.
Has there ever been anybody to violate that confidence, let the word slip out somehow? You don't have to name names, but
I don't think people do it intentionally. I think it's a very hard secret to hold. And there have been issues sometimes where people accidentally let family members post revealing photos. But aside from that, everyone really tries to obey the rules. And you all are such a tight-knit community. When someone breaks a rule, I get a call immediately. and I let them know, and they usually feel terrible and they didn't mean to violate the rule. Everyone really deeply cares about the trust and relationships that you build in this community, and that's really helpful for us.
So of all the contestants that have been on over the last 7 years, those 42 episodes that I found on Wikipedia, has there been one that has really stood out in your mind? Each of you, I'll give you a chance to answer that. One that's just either special or just so totally different or unexpected. What's really kind of kept in your brain all this time?
Well, I think in keeping with themes and just thinking of something that's adorably cute, the Tomasello family did such a great job. They had gumdrops, they had, everything. And then they had a skating rink on their driveway. And I had spoken with Peter for years leading up to that moment that they finally got on the show. So not only was it, the home itself, it was, Peter and Drew, who were just incredible. And the home didn't win. And that's sometimes the case. Not everybody can win, but they have spoken about their time on the show and just how, incredible it was for them. So they've always stuck out in my mind.
Alicia, do you have anybody that's been special to you?
All of my contestants are very special. And
How politically correct.
but if I have to pick, I'll tell you that for me, the people where I had to really pull their teeth to be on the show, we developed such a relationship over weeks of me just really getting them to trust me. And so I think one of those people would be Kevin Lynch, who I know is on right now. He was super resistant to the 21 weeks and he ended up being a winner. And his house, I will never forget, not just how it turned out on the show, but all of our phone calls and how deeply I cared about, pulling him in. I will say now we don't have to, work so hard. Usually we have a line out the door to be on the show, but in the beginning seasons, it was a little trickier. People didn't trust us because they heard the words reality television. So for me, I think some of those earlier families, him and Scott Weaver were two that I put a lot of work into, and they just had such amazing displays and amazing attitudes, and I adore them.
I was hoping you would
Brady,
pick Kevin.
special?
Kevin's mine.
Oh,
And Kevin, I think
sorry.
Kevin's on. And I'll just tell you why. It's not because of how hard it was to get him on the show. We did work with him, to get him on, but it was he and Tina, invited us in the house, and we got to get to know them really well, which was really nice. And thank you, Kevin. But it was when your son, Kevin, if you're listening, when you ran away, when you won, and you ran away from you were so emotionally like overwhelmed, you actually ran away from the group, and the camera operator followed you, and I was standing right there, and your son ran to you, and you lifted him up in the air, and I was watching the monitor, and I started crying, and I was like, and we were still shooting, this is still the first season of the show. We didn't know if this thing was going to last or if it was any good, or you never know with these television shows. But when I was emotionally struck right at that moment because of the father-son bond, I thought, we got a show here. This is something that people are going to love and people are going to want to watch more of it. It is about the lights, of course, but it's about why you do the lights. It's for the community, and it's for the family, and it's because you want to share the feeling of Christmas that you have, and you're sharing it as much as you can through your art. And I really felt that with Kevin's family and with everybody else. It just so happened that was the first time that I really was convinced, that we had a winning series here. So thanks, Kevin, for doing that. And your son. I forgot your son's name. Sorry.
So you've developed all these special bonds, but have you ever had a contestant pull out at the last minute?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So that's one of the things that keeps me really, really busy in the beginning. We're lucky that usually people drop out early, and we have amazing alternates that are waiting in the wings that are equally as deserving of being on the show and are really understanding and flexible. But yeah, it's really tricky. There's things that sometimes families could never foresee, like a sudden illness or whatnot, or a hurricane. We've had a lot of those. And then there's sometimes where people, for whatever reason, usually a family member doesn't want to participate and they thought they were going to get them on board and they didn't. So it runs many reasons, but I would say most people have waited for their spot for so long that there's no way they're going to give it up. And I'm really grateful to everyone who makes that commitment.
So help me, the trophy, that big bulb trophy with the little bulbs inside. I've gone to my trophy catalog and tried to find that trophy somewhere, and it doesn't seem to be an off-the-shelf type trophy. Where did the trophy come from?
That's a good, yeah, go ahead, Felicia, if you want. I mean, we wanted to do something great. We wanted to have a very special trophy. It was a discussion that we had, and we didn't have any money, so we didn't know how to do it. But anyway, Felicia was really the one who sort of executed the vision.
My original idea, which failed miserably, was for there to be snow globes, and inside each snow globe would be the house, a representation of the family's house. Of course, we couldn't pull that off in our time frame. So then we thought, well, lights are universal, and those C9s or C7s, are very representative and traditional. So that's how we ultimately got there. And we had to hire a prop maker to create this. And over time, we ultimately, and they were still snow globes. So the first season, we were sending them to people's houses, and like the water was leaking, and it was a nightmare. But I think by season 2, we switched to a professional shop that manufactures trophies and things like that. And we got rid of the snow globe, and it worked much better.
And a tidbit, the glass part of the trophy is an upside down giant champagne glass that the prop maker found online. They're actually giant champagne glasses turned upside down, cut off, shaved off, and then they are glued to that spiral middle, and that's just a piece of industrial element, and then this base is a basic traditional trophy base, and then they put the battery in there and light the lights up. It's great.
Let's keep that our special secret. We shall not share that with anybody. But a giant champagne glass.
Right.
Yeah, I like
Inside info.
Upside down, of course, here. So you're getting ready to start filming for the 2021 season, but this is 2020. And we've got this thing called a pandemic running around everywhere in the United States. you guys thought about, is this going to affect how you film the shows for this or film the houses for this year?
Yeah, we're right in the middle of that. You can imagine with crowds and all that. We have to. We want to do the show. We have. By the way, we are not 100% on this coming season yet. We are hoping to be in the next week or so. We are casting as if we're 100%. It's usually around now that ABC usually says, okay, we're going to do it again, and they just wait till the last minute every year. But yeah, with COVID, it's a whole new thing. So we are putting together a special COVID packet that describes how we're going to do the show, and it is going to be different. It is. We are likely to not have crowds. So and we won't be able to hug and all that. So it will feel different. But we don't want to not do the show. We want to move forward, and we're just going to do what we have to do.
A question has come in on the car that Santa Claus drives as the judge comes to award the upside down, the giant trophy. The general consensus is it's the same car that goes all over the United States and Canada. What's the history with the car and the Santa Claus in the car?
Go ahead.
Well, in history, I think Brady can speak to. I can speak to the logistics of it, but Brady, do you want to? You're the one who picks out all the cars.
Yeah, I just for whatever reason, I was really adamant about having a bright red car, old car for Santa to drive. It was just, I don't know, it must have come from some childhood thing, and made it a nightmare for our production assistants to call all over the country because we don't know. You can imagine, we don't know who's going to win, so we have to have a red car ready to go in every single city. So that's 24 cities that we basically signed a contract with some owner of a car, and that driver usually has to be Santa because they don't want anybody else driving their car. So there's 24 car owners all around the country ready to be Santa and to drive the car on the show. And then when we finally have a winner, then we call that one, tell the other three sorry. Hopefully we'll come back another year, and then and that's how it works. But it's usually a different car based on the location.
And the Santas are all great people. They are so excited to show off their car on the show. We've had just crazy experiences with Tanya dropping her iPhone through a seat, and they had to deconstruct the entire car to take out all the seats and all the seat belts to get to her iPhone. We've had people get stuck in the mud. I mean, the cars, it's a real endeavor to make it happen, and we have an amazing team that just pounds the phones until we get it. But I will say, we've noticed on forums that everyone gets suspicious that if a red car gets contacted, that means that city's going to win. That is not true. We always have at least 2 red cars in every city standing by. So if word gets out in your neighborhood that a red car is standing by, that just means you're on the show. Sorry.
Hey, Chuck, if I could just also dispel one other myth, and that is that the judges have input from anyone else. And I know this is kind of a random thing, but I want to make sure I got it in there. That and the people who have been on the show know this, but it's just all the other people who sort of assume that it's a reality television show and there must be producers who are making the decisions. And Felicia and I, we've been on the show from the very beginning, and we can just tell you and look you in the eye and say, those judges, they make their decision. 100% is their decision. Yeah. And ABC would have it no other way. The attorneys at ABC, this is an official game show in the eyes of the federal government. And if there's any interference from producers or from ABC on who wins that money, it's actually, as far as I know, it's like a federal crime. Yeah. So I just want to make sure everybody knows it is 100% up to the judge, and we don't care. We do not care who wins. It doesn't mean there was no reason we would ever want someone in particular to win. We just want to throw it out there. We put it, put you in an episode, and if you win, that's great. So just letting everybody know that it's all on the up and up, and it's all done on paper. We have to submit, the judging sheet to the attorneys at ABC. So just in case anybody's wondering.
And I would even add that everyone who makes it to the show is already a winner, because the hardest competition is making it on the show, right? And so at the end of the day, who gets the trophy is really based on the judges' experience at those 4 houses in the moment. They don't review tape. They don't get to see the edit. They just, whatever they experience there, it's their professional and personal opinion. And we do it because it makes interesting television. If we could just showcase everyone and everyone be winners, we'd love that. But, unfortunately, we're marketing to a broader audience than just the lighting community.
That's a great segue for Kristen. What was that website you go to again to submit to be on the Great Christmas Light Fight?
Lightfightcasting.com. I wish I could put it, actually, maybe I can change my name and
Oh, smart.
lightfightcasting.com. Let's do that.
Okay. What was that again, Kristen? I've already forgotten what it was. How do you submit to be on the show?
Lightfightcasting.com. Look, I changed my name.
All right, very good.
I love it. Thank
So I've noticed in the last few seasons you feature more indoor decorations where people are truly over the top indoor decorators by doing bathrooms in every conceivable room of the house. Is that a trend that you're seeing, or is it just you're trying to fill time and they just happen to have indoor decorations, or is there, what's up with that?
Yeah.
It was a trend that we were seeing in casting. And then I think, we kind of just were able to show, you guys and the network that, hey, there's a lot going on inside. So are we going to be able to showcase that? And I don't know who ended up making the decision, but.
Yeah, ultimately it was ABC. We just said, hey, we're missing out on some interesting things. And it wasn't about just being inside. It was about, why not? We show backyards, right? We show the front yard and the house. And then if somebody, decorated their backyard and their pool, we go around the house and we see all of that. And that's how we view the inside. It's just another part of the whole experience for the community and for neighbors. So why not have it be for the show? But it's absolutely not a requirement. And if you do your inside, it's fine. But if you don't, it's okay. We probably won't be doing inside this year because of COVID, though, is our current thinking, just so we all know.
Oh, good point. So we just had a question come in. Have you ever had, has there ever been technical difficulties when the homeowner flips on the lights for the big reveal?
Yeah, and I'll just, the first one, I can't remember the family's name. What was the family? Was it Smith in Texas? I can't remember. There was only one time where it actually impacted their involvement in the show, and it was very first season. It just, nothing went on. It was completely dead. There was like one little light over here, and we spent many, many hours that night trying to get it to work, and it never did. And we actually unfortunately had to replace that family. But we've had a few uh-ohs, like something's wrong, and then it's fixed, and that's part of the story, and that's kind of fun, actually.
We've had even more that are never part of the story, right? Because, we want everyone to look great and we want everyone to put their best foot forward. And, we do have a very timely schedule. So we want everyone to be ready and prepared, and we'll test the lights with you the night before. But if something goes wrong, sometimes we'll take a little extra time so you can figure it out. And usually most people have been testing it since before we got there and figure it out fast, and it becomes a non-issue.
And sometimes parts don't work. So what, I don't know if this is too much inside information, but let's say it's not perfect, but it's still enough to get through the night for the judge. The judge, just like Felicia said, the judge judges on his or her experience that night. And so it may be that the judging is, well, only 70% of their display worked. I can't give it to them, even though it's a great display. But we want the family to look really good. We may choose in post-production to come back maybe, or shoot the next night and show the whole display, or edit it in a way that doesn't look like 30% of it didn't work, because we want the family to look good. So sometimes that kind of thing happens, and we do our best to make everyone look good.
Well, we've only got about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to take this opportunity to ask the panelists a very direct question. You have seen so many incredible displays. Most of us in the Christmas decorating community are just assuming that you've taken all those good ideas, and you also have incredible Christmas displays at your own homes. Is that true? Brady, since you don't decorate at all?
I'm usually on the road shooting this wonderful show. So yeah, I put a few lights in the front of the house, and that's about it. Halloween is big for us. I go big on Halloween. It's a whole ghost house, so I go crazy on Halloween.
Okay.
Yeah, we decorate very big for Halloween. I've tried one year, and I can't live up to my contestants. You guys, I know too much, and I know how bad mine is, and I just don't enjoy it the same way I enjoy yours. So I only decorate on Halloween.
I started doing I started doing interior. I have a big window, so we put a big Christmas tree in the window, and then I set up lots of stuff. I've started accumulating. Everyone who we've spoken to, you got to start somewhere. So every year I accumulate more. So let's talk in 20 years and see where I'm at.
Hey, Chuck,
20
there's
years.
so many good questions here.
Yeah.
How do we, is there any way for us to answer them offline? Because I would love to answer all of them. You know, if there's a way to do
Well,
that.
I don't know if we can answer them offline or not. We can certainly try. They've been coming in faster than I can ask them here, I'll have to admit.
Brady, I've been typing some answers as well. So
Okay. I wonder if there's a way, there's no way to leave this up and have us just answer the questions? I don't know. Maybe there's not. We're happy to participate more.
Are the technical staff, the non-Christmas related technical staff will have to figure that out, so stay tuned here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're nearing the end of our 1 hour mark here, and I don't want to take too much advantage of our panelists, but speaking as a Christmas light decorator for a very long time, I want to thank everybody on the panel tonight for putting on this incredible show and bringing so many more people into this whole thing of doing great Christmas displays. Because you have already experienced the smiles on the faces that we create when we do the displays, and you know that we're making lifelong memories. So you have a special inside understanding of why we do what we do. And it's people like you who help put this on TV and let the rest of the world kind of get a glimpse behind the scenes of why we do what we do and maybe how we put up some of these over-the-top displays. It means a lot to somebody like me who's been doing this a really long time. So I really do appreciate what you're doing. You have anything that you want to say to the vast Christmas decorating community that's in on this presentation? We'll start with you, Kristen, and then we're going to get ready to wrap this up. Wait, one thing, Kristen, what was that website again where you can apply to be on the show?
lightfightcasting.com. Even if you're curious and you want to send me an email, I'm more than happy to share my email, Kristen, Kristen, .lightfight@gmail.com. Can I put that in the chat? Or can somebody add that to the chat? Because if you have questions, I've seen some questions come through. How do I get footage? What kind of, what are you looking for? What's the best, anything, any questions that you have, we're happy to answer them. Believe me, there are families who we've been speaking to for many, many seasons. We've even maybe pitched them to the network. They haven't gotten on. It doesn't mean that you're one and done. It doesn't mean that you get, you don't get selected one season and we don't ever want to talk to you again. If anything, we get to have more of a relationship with you if you don't make it on the first time you try out, because we get to call you next year and talk you through getting footage. So if you have any questions, kristen.lightfight@gmail.com. Please reach out, find me on Facebook. I'm available. I want to hear from you. So that's my advice. lightfightcasting.com. And Chuck, I don't know if I've ever seen a video of your display. So please send it.
Okay, moving right along here. Felicia, you have anything you want to tell the group?
I want to thank everyone for joining the panel and for supporting the show. And I've noticed a bunch of questions in the chat about how we're going to proceed with COVID. So I just want to take a moment to address that. Brady, Max, and I, and our whole team have spent a lot of time developing a plan to shoot safely. More information will be shared with the contestants if they get chosen for this year. But what I do want to say right now is that, of course, we want everyone to go big and get us footage this year. But if you're using helpers who live outside of your household, I would really suggest that you guys use all sorts of safety protocols to make sure you're safe. We don't want anyone getting sick on account of the show. So if you have helpers that are going to help you put up your display and they don't live in your household, wear masks, stay socially distant or whatnot. We just, we feel that the country needs us more than ever this year to see Christmas lights. I think it's so important, but we also know that your personal safety is just as important. So please be safe, and we will be safe with our contestants.
We appreciate that. Brady, you have any parting words for us?
I'll go fast. I know you have, I know you, mine is a little bit broader. It's less about the show itself. I just wanted to, I feel like looking at how many people are on here asking questions. I just wanted to say, you know, our art is telling stories and putting things on television for people to share. And I really view everybody who does a Christmas lights display as an artist and a family of artists. And I just wanted you all to know that that's what we think. We view you as artists, and that there's a lot of research on art and art's impact on people and how it gives them a sense of self. And it's in all art. You know, why do you have a certain art on your wall? You know, or why do you have are you attracted to a certain sculpture? Why do you like a certain movie? It's because it is a representation of you, whether you created it or whether you like it. And I just, you know, I put Christmas lights in that category of art, and we are really honored that all the artists out there are sharing your art with us and with America. And it's not just your community. We're, you know, millions of people are watching it, and it adds, I really believe it adds to the collective memory of society. That's one of the purposes of art. And you're doing a great job, and we'll keep telling your stories as long as you keep putting up lights, and we'll share it with as many people as we can. And hopefully it's good for your business, for the business of Christmas lights, and it's also good for the collective memory of the country, and it makes us all feel good. So just thank you across the board for your art.
Well, thank you, Brady, Felicia, and Kristen. You have made this a very, very special evening for so many Christmas decorators out here. We're going to end the public version of this telecast right now. Behind the scenes, we're going to figure out if we can answer these questions offline or not. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for taking some valuable time out of your very busy day today to be with us as we talk about the Great Christmas Light Fight. We should also keep in mind that Christmas Expo is going to happen again in real life, probably be 2021. So be sure and go to christmasexpo.com and join us next year. I believe it'll be in Las Vegas, Nevada, middle of the summer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the casinos are air conditioned, so we will be okay. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time, and we will see you again. Bye-bye.